Fact of the day, Mac Jones has more wins with 6 than all other rookie quarterbacks combined. That's right. The Mac Jones has 6 wins. The rest of the rookie quarterbacks have 5. Cue that intro.
You know on the beat every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour. Head over to manhourradio.com. Be sure to check out the merchandise page. The Takeaway 22 shirts and hoodies are now live over there. All proceeds go to the Wounded Warriors Project Fund to help with PTSD and all the other elements that veterans have when they get back into the civilian world. And guys, we have a great show for you. I like the lineup tonight. We got Wayne G with That's Debatable. We do got a special guest on tonight, but we hang that on for a minute. We're going to talk a little bit about Landry Jones. We're going to, of course, talk about Antonio Brown, all that saga that is happening. And then, of course, you got to talk about Mac Jones. Mr. 6 wins, Mac Jones himself. But speaking of 6 wins, Soup Boss is 6-0 every time he is on the show, if we have some type of debate, I guess. But hey, what's going on, Soup?
Undefeated. Testing. Is the mic working? Just making sure.
Let me check.
You got me muted.
Yeah.
You checking?
No, yeah.
You good?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Mic check. Drop it. Good. Just making sure before I drop another win and we go 7-0 tonight, baby. What's up?
Yes,
Soup
sir.
Boss in the house. Obviously pumped up for my Pats getting ready to play right now. So you'll see me continuously glancing here and there. I got the game right here, and I got Buck right here.
Yeah.
Game, the fans. We'll keep it going. We'll go all night long. We'll do the good.
We will definitely do good all night. So first things first, man, thank you for joining us here on kind of short notice here, kind of like last minute. Like, hey, Soup, you want to jump on? And he said, sure. And the main reason why I wanted to bring you on is because of what you said last night about the Wayne G segment last week. And I believe it was Jaylen Brown, is it Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and everything going into that. So, yep.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be talking about that in about 30 minutes here. But the reason why I gave you that stat about Mac Jones having 6 wins versus all rookie other quarterbacks having 5, and you go to guys. So here are the stats. Justin Fields is 2-5 on the season. Trevor Lawrence is 2-7. Zach Wilson is 1-5. Davis Mills is 0-6, and Trey Lance is 0-1. So, Soup Boss, with that being said, is Mac Jones the Rookie of the Year?
Ooh, man, if we're going to be talking about Rookie of the Year, in a league that is obviously driven by offensive stat numbers and everything like that, you can make the argument that there are other players that are doing not only a better job as a rookie, but maybe even doing a little bit more in their position than predicted. But where it's such an offensive, stat-driven league, I just don't see if the voting was today, how do you not make Mac Jones the Rookie of the Year? I mean, it's all about stats. And there's offensive linemen that are absolutely blowing out their position in predictions. In fact, I think there's someone that's the top rated in their position as a whole, like in all of the NFL. I can't remember who it is. I'll have to look it up. But no one cares about that stuff. We don't have offensive and defensive linemen when it comes to fantasy football, and NFL is fantasy football. That's why right now people are talking about, well, is Jalen Hurts even really the option in Philly? And yet he's rostered in over 98% of leagues and is a starter in something like 64%. Why? Because he creates offensive numbers. If the voting's today, not just because I'm a Patriots fan, but how can you not make Mac Jones Rookie of the Year right now? I just don't see anyone that's beating him.
Yeah, so, obviously, I think he will get the Offensive Rookie of the Year, no question in my mind. Maybe the receiver from Cincinnati, who's that? That's Jamar Chase, right? Yep. I think he can make a legitimate run at it, but right now the Bengals are kind of falling off the map. But when you look at the
They're not
rookie,
helping him.
yeah, but when you look at the rookie of the year, I think you kind of look at the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is all over the field. He is playing multiple spots on the field, and he is single-handedly elevating that Dallas Cowboys defense into a premier defense, much like we talked last night. So will will Mac Jones win a Rookie of the Year award? Absolutely, because hell, I it would not surprise me if the Patriots make it to the playoffs that he isn't the MVP of the league either. He is having that great a year on a good
you slow it down.
Okay.
Slow it down, mister. The Pats are going to, within the playoffs, beat the Ravens on the road by 10 plus points. Like, calm down. Stop giving my boys props and then going all crazy and giving people a reason to get all ticked off. That's not going to happen. I think what you can say is if the New England Patriots are to win the AFC East and find a way to take out the Buffalo Bills, then for sure you got to give them Rookie of the Year. Because in a year, everyone assumed, hey, listen, Buffalo's not going to back down.
Right.
Big deal. Bill got a rookie quarterback. He's still going to need to rebuild. They were saying it on the broadcast here before we got on. What rebuild? It's now. The time is now. They're already into that mode. This isn't rebuild. This is moving forward already. And if they win the AFC East, you got to give them Rookie of the Year at that point.
Yeah, so one thing people I think the casual fan fail to see is the Patriots missed the playoffs last year and what they were 6-10 I think last year as well off the top of my head.
I think they were 7-9.
But they also had 12 players sit out because COVID.
Yeah. They had more players sit out of COVID on the AFC than all the other AFC teams combined. Yeah. That's how completely depleted they were. Creed Humphrey, by the way, is the guy I was talking about as well. Your guy there, Micah Parsons. Creed Humphrey is the other guy in terms of rookies, but not to intersect you there.
Oh, no, that's a great person that you definitely cannot overlook a lot just at all. So let me talk about your head coach here, since you are wearing the Patriots jersey. As Alpha Rob, you said you need to throw that jersey in the trash. Mr.
Sorry,
Bill,
Alpha Rob, just ain't happening, buddy.
Bill Parcells, or not Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick.
Bill Parcells
is by far one of the greatest coaches, the greatest masterminds out there. And when people spend in free agency, he doesn't. When people don't have money to spend in free agency, he buys the farm, right? Was sitting out those 12 players last season because of COVID, was that a chess move for this year?
No, absolutely not, because they still had the cap space. They had created an element that if they proceeded with an offer, most people forget that they actually did present Tom Brady an offer. It would have destroyed the cap number. They would have had to cut a bunch of people. And in fact, you are not seeing them go out and sign guys like Judon and going and targeting a guy like Mac Jones and getting a lot of these other players that have stepped up and been huge. They wouldn't have gotten Kyle Van Noy back. They wouldn't have gotten a lot of these other players because of that. But they were prepared to do that with Tom Brady because knowing he was the GOAT. But I think everyone knew that the divorce was happening. But they then said, okay, this is the roster we have. And then starting, I think it was Hightower was the first one, either him or Gilmore stepped forward and said, no, you know what? We're not going to do this because of the COVID thing. It was like, okay. And then it kept going and it kept going and kept going. And all of a sudden they went from only having $1 million in cap space to something like $25 million that they could have used just that year. Now that was just that year. The majority of those players are still on the roster, including Gilmore, who started the season this year. So there's no chess move to me per se that Bill Belichick was having them sit, because it didn't matter, because he still had that money and he didn't do anything with it. We sat there and said when the Patriots went up to Seattle and Cam Newton almost helped them beat the Seahawks, and we thought, wait a minute, did Bill figure this out with Cam Newton? Is there a chance? I remember people being like, I think they would go beat the Chiefs when Cam Newton had COVID and they couldn't do it. And they're like, the Pats would have beat them. There are people that were like, go use that $25 million. Go get some guys now. I think the chess move was when Bill held pat and realized, you know what? It is what it is. if we sneak into the playoffs, we sneak into the playoffs. He was, no matter what people think, he was a very, very praiseworthy person when it came to Cam Newton. I think he praised Cam Newton more than he ever did Tom Brady, and that's saying something. He really liked Cam's energy and his positive motive, and I think he said, we're going to ride it that way. Why? Because he wasn't wanting to take away what the chess move was, which was waiting for the season after, which was this postseason, or off season, if you will. That's where he made the moves. Tom didn't sign on. Okay. If Tom doesn't sign on after a year, then I'm going to do it. So the chess move was sticking to his guns there. And in the middle of the season, when they had a chance to go make some trades and make some free agent splashes to take a shot, he knew there was no shot with that team that's depleted, especially as that defense was. And he said, you know what? I'm going to hold to my guns. No free agents. We'll ride it out. Didn't make it. But then that's why he just all of a sudden in the offseason, Hunter Henry, who's just making huge splashes. Judon, who's just becoming the vocal person of not just this defense, but potentially of the whole New England Patriots squad. He's such a great guy on interviews, and he's made it a point to get to know every single player, even practice squad players. He goes around and gets to know them. How is that not the Patriot way? How do you not, as a Ravens fan right now, go, we let go of this guy who's out there making huge plays? So that was the chess move to me, was Bill Belichick saying, I know this is going to piss people off, but I don't care. This is what we're going to do. If Tom doesn't play, we take a year off, we play the draft, we go get some big free agent signings, and I do what I do best. And that's what we're seeing right now. And the formula is working. We talked about it last night. I think they need to get smacked in the teeth one more time here to really make it valuable. We'll see how that goes, but it's working. The formula is working, and it's already. I watched some other podcasts after ours last night, Buck. Other sports shows, people are getting frustrated already that Bill Belichick and the Cheatriot nicknames are already coming out. But the people are saying it's just proven that Brady is the GOAT, but without Belichick, he wouldn't have won as many. It still took both of them in the formula, and Bill has proven that this year.
Right.
And I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, every quarterback that has success always falls in the right situation, right? I mean, if let's say Patrick Mahomes went to the Bears, we would not be talking about the $100 million contract that he signed, or the $500 million contract that he signed, just because I don't think he would have fit the system. And I want to say the same thing about Mac Jones. Mac Jones to the Jets, we wouldn't be talking about Mac Jones the way it happens either. So by Tom Brady going to the Bucs, this has to be a blessing in disguise for all Patriots fans, because you guys wouldn't have got Mac Jones. You probably wouldn't have gotten Hunter Henry or Judon Smith, or who is the other tight end that you guys got as well. I can't remember his his name. Right.
Those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
I mean, not Judon. Jonnu.
Yeah,
Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry were the two big ones.
Right.
And though Jonnu's turned into a huge blocking tight end, he hasn't really become the catcher, but that's okay. That's not what they need right now. And he's being used in a huge way for the running game, and including, by the way, N'Keal Harry, which of course everyone's like, first round bust, because he's not catching a bunch of balls. He's getting praised week in and week out for absolutely setting up huge trap end blocks and everything. Again, the Patriot way. What is your value? A guy like Slater on special teams for 15 plus years doing that and never wanting to be a wide receiver. You're seeing guys like N'Keal Harry saying, all right, I'll be a top level wide receiver for the Patriots by making sure that I go in and set those blocks. So yeah, no, I told you yesterday, I sat there and said, if Mac Jones or Justin Fields get drafted early on, I want all the other quarterbacks drafted, because I do not want Zach Wilson or Justin Fields drafted to the Patriots. Because even though I trust in Bill, they weren't good. And you need to have a skilled QB mixed with a skilled coach to create success in the NFL. You said it. Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid is a huge reason Patrick Mahomes succeed. Not to say Patrick Mahomes can't be great elsewhere, but he can't be this great without a great coach.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing right now. And you're right. If Mac Jones goes to the Jets, he's doing better than Zach Wilson by what? Maybe a game. Maybe he has a sneaks out a win here or there more.
Shoot,
but that's
maybe,
it. Maybe, and that's it. And that's the difference. But Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. I said it all through last year in the college, and I think Justin Fields is the same way. And I think if Fields had dropped to the Patriots, Fields right now would be having a ton of success with the New England Patriots.
Yeah, so that was actually going to be my next question. As a Patriots fans, let's say Mac Jones wasn't there. Would you have been satisfied with taking, Justin Fields or even a Davis Mills?
I think Davis Mills has some ability where you would have seen a potential for them working something out. But I think high-end quarterback names that weren't Mac Jones or Justin Fields, I think you may have seen. I wouldn't have been satisfied unless it was for the element of bumping up their stock level a little bit to pull a trade with Houston to go get a guy like Deshaun Watson. I think there was no denying that Bill Belichick had a big crush on Deshaun Watson. There have been multiple reports about conversations with him. Hell, there's some reporter that randomly leaked out when they played Houston that they were still talking about trading for Deshaun Watson after this year, which I think is completely bogus now at this point.
Oh, yeah.
But if they had drafted one of those other quarterbacks, if it was to know that we had to go through another average year, but to bump up a stock of a Zach Wilson to package them for a Deshaun Watson, go for it. And I know all this stuff going on with Deshaun Watson right now, but I still think Bill Belichick would have taken the chance with it, knowing that what he could do with him. But I truly 100% believe that if Fields or Mac Jones was not at 15, we wouldn't have seen the Patriots pick at 15. We would have seen what we saw every single year. Bill Belichick would have traded down. He would have given up that pick for a bunch of other picks, and he would have rolled those into Pro Bowl offensive linemen that half of the Patriots fans go, oh, who the heck is this guy?
Right.
That ends up being the Pro Bowl offensive lineman. We're like, we've got the best offensive line. He's not a good wide receiver drafter, Bill Belichick, but there's no doubting that he knows how to draft defensive and offensive linemen. And he knows that's where you win football games.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you get to Wayne G's heart is you draft great guys. So now I'm circled by Patriots guys here. So Wayne, we have been talking about Mac Jones and if he is on pace to win the Rookie of the Year or not. He has more wins than all other rookie quarterbacks combined this season with 6, and the rest of them have 5. So let me ask you this question before we get into your topic here of the night. Can Mac Jones win the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, I don't know who else would really be competing with him for it. It's not going to be any of the other quarterbacks, that's for sure. So it would have to be, a running back or a receiver or somebody like that. Jamar Chase is having a good year. But I think that, Mac Jones is going to lead that Patriots team to the playoffs, and I don't know if any other rookie is going to have that big of an impact.
Yeah, so there you go. Wayne G, as a Patriots guy himself, says Mac Jones is going to win it.
And Wayne, I don't know if you heard us earlier when you're waiting to come on board here with us, but I think it's a lock if he wins the division. I think that's the ultimate test. I don't think there's a doubt. I think Chase could help Cincinnati all of a sudden take this downturn and have some amazing games, get 6-7 catches per game, 110 yards, touchdown or 2 a game. And yet still, if the Patriots find a way to beat the Bills and to win this division with Mac Jones leading it, I think it's a slam dunk, no contest Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, sure. And I actually have them winning the division at 11-6. I've been calling it all season, so.
Yeah, good stuff.
There you go. So, Wayne, before we get into your That's Debatable topic of the night, Soup has something that he would like to address with you, first things first. But let me ask you this question first, because there's a poll going on the page here over at youtube.com/manhour. Have you guys seen the Nightmare Before Christmas movie?
Of course.
Is that a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
It's a good question. So I would say it probably falls under the category of Christmas. And I will tell you why, is because it takes place, the movie begins after Halloween is over. Right. So the entire thing is planning for Christmas.
It is, without a doubt, 100% neither. It transcends the element of Halloween or Christmas. It is a holiday movie. You watch it at Halloween. You watch it at Christmas. Hell, me and my kids watch it on the 4th of July. That is one of the greatest movies of all time because it transcends the element of a single holiday. It is a holiday movie all year round. One of the best.
You
I
know
didn't
what?
know there was an option 3. I thought I had to go pick one of the others. So.
Well, and you know what holiday they do skip? They go Halloween right into Christmas. They skip Thanksgiving, so Combs would probably absolutely hate the movie 100%, right?
Yeah. The big man likes to eat. You can't blame him. You know, if it's not focused on Thanksgiving in some way, shape, or form, or at least give him credit to, he wants nothing to do with it. I think that's why he likes Die Hard as well. I think there's some Thanksgiving mentioning or turkey mentioning or eating of some sort mentioning in that movie.
Yeah, and then Drew
Well, I
also
think
says that
that-
Die Hard's a Christmas movie as well. So,
And I don't think Jack Skellington was aware of the other holidays until he found the doors and he happened to stumble into the Christmas town. I think if he had stumbled into a Thanksgiving town, which was there, maybe he would have been a Thanksgiving guy. But I think it was just he happened to stumble into Christmas.
true.
That was the whole point of
That is-
bringing it. He found Christmas and he wanted to bring that in. So yes, it's the joy, but he was bringing it into his world, which was Halloween. And to your point, Wayne, if he did it with Thanksgiving, he would have done it that way. The whole point was joyous elements of any holiday. You can make it all inclusive. It's all about being all inclusive in today's world. Make every holiday the same. Let's do it. Lights up all the time. And Nightmare Before Christmas should be on every single holiday.
Oh, I actually like it because my kids are loving it right now. They're probably watching it right now, to be honest with you. But Wayne, the main reason why we have Soup Boss on for tonight is because of the topic that you brought up last week when it was Tori and I on the show. I believe you said that Jaylen Brown was better than Jason Tatum. Is that correct? Like, am I saying that right? Or is it?
That is correct, yeah.
So, Soup Boss, what are your thoughts on that? Just because you said that, I believe you were on the Jaylen Brown train, right?
Oh, so you made a point, Wayne, and I'm completely with you, but you made a point that no one has proof that they were on it before you. I've got a whole page on Sports Soup that would tell you that I was on it day one. I watched this Brown kid and I said, you know what the difference between Brown and Tatum is going to be? Is that Brown is going to be more efficient scorer, more efficient ball handler, more efficient complete player, and not going to be going crazy. And I literally thought it when Tatum went and trained with Kobe. Not saying that any aspect of that made him a worse ball player. In fact, it made him more hungry, but it also put him in the new era of that ball hog. And we see it all the time, that fourth quarter hero ball mentality that drives me nuts. So that's not what I'm arguing you about. I am 100% agreeing with you that Brown is by and far better than Jason Tatum. But you made an interesting point about Mr. Simmons in the trade, the rumor or whatever the heck it was about getting Ben Simmons and being able to put Brown in for him in the trade. You made a comment that Ben Simmons is good at everything. He gives you everything. You know what he gives you when it comes to jump shots? A big everything of a sack of crap. That's about it. That guy. Now listen, point guards, the shooting should not be a focus for sure, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't at least know how to hit some basic jump shots. The guy can't hit a jump shot. Not only that, he has no spine. I'm sorry. The difference between a guy like Brown and even Tatum over a guy like Simmons is at least they have a spine. He has proven in closeout games, in big tight games, games for playoff seeding, game 7s, game 5, game 6, game 7, he doesn't want the ball. He takes it underneath the hoop with an easy layup, and he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to go up for the shot. He doesn't want to get contact. He doesn't want to do anything like that. And he throws it away, and he gives it to someone else. He says, I don't want it. You go get it. And I don't like the hero ball crap with Tatum. But for the love of God, at least give me a desire to take a shot if you're sitting right underneath the basket. So Simmons does a lot of good things, but to say that he's good at everything, man, I can't agree with you there. He lacks a backbone in the tight moments, and he also lacks a jump shot, which you got to have. You got to be able to make 3 to 4 jump shots a game, and he can't do it. Do you actually see that out of him?
No, yeah, I think I'd actually said he does everything well except for shoot. That's the only thing he doesn't do. And so, and going back to like somebody like Jason Kidd, who was called Asen Kidd his rookie year, right? Because he had no J. And even looking at a guy like Lonzo Ball, right? How ugly is that jump shot? But he's become like a 40% 3-point shooter. So it can be learned. My question
100%.
is, will he have the dedication to learn it? At this point in his career, he should already be making that improvement. So if it's not there, then I don't know if he has the will to actually get better.
No, he doesn't, because if you were wanting to do it, if you wanted to prove that you had a desire to do it, you would be out on that out on that court taking those big shots late in the game, or just game 6 and 7s and saying, give me the ball, like, let me do something. Let me, even if you're not doing the shot, give me a huge opportunity for a ton of assists. Like, and he's doing none of that. He doesn't want any of that opportunity, because even when he's getting rid of the ball, it's not going to a man that's open for a touchdown or anything like that. I've been touchdown, geez, open for a field goal or anything like that. It's literally going for just get the ball away from me and reset the play. And that's a big issue when it comes to Ben Simmons. He doesn't want to learn it. He wants to be able to be considered a superstar how he is right now. I deserve my pick in the lottery. I deserve the recognition I got. I deserve to be recognized as a good player. I've proven it through other games. I don't need to prove it all the time. Therefore, I am who I am. And that's his mentality. And that, I mean, we already have that with the Celtics when it comes to Celtics fans. We've got Tatum saying, I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to go 4-on-1 and try to shove it down your throats. And even though that doesn't work, at least he knows he's going to go for it. At least there's an attempt of some sort. I don't think you take a huge step backwards by bringing in Ben Simmons. You seem to think that he could succeed in the Celtics organization. I don't agree. I think you need a guy that's got a head on his shoulders, and you get rid of the guy in Brown and you bring in Simmons. I just don't agree that he could succeed.
I think I actually said that he wouldn't be a good fit in the Celtics. I said it's not a good fit there. I think that the reason I brought up Brown is because I started off the segment saying that, there were rumors that he could be traded to the Celtics, but that Jaylen Brown would have to be included. And I said I wouldn't do that, which led to me saying that Jaylen Brown's better than Jason Tatum. But I don't think that Ben Simmons is a fit in the Celtics. However, where I disagreed with Combs, I think it was, you said Torrey, Buck, but I think it was Combs, that I think that Simmons is a star, and he would be a star on the right team. I don't think the Celtics are that team. I think New Orleans makes more sense. I think there are teams out there that make a little bit more sense, maybe like a Minnesota, right? But I don't think that, I don't think the Celtics are a right fit. It's not the right system for them.
A box of Raisin Bran would be a star on the Pelicans, for crying out loud. Like, that's not giving the guy any credit. It's like Antoine Walker when he left the Celtics and was a star elsewhere. Yeah, when you're the only thing that can be halfway decent on a really, really crummy, crappy team, you're a star, but you're only a star there. You are not a star on the league level. And that's the difference, is that Ben Simmons wouldn't appreciate that, because he wants to be a star on a league level. That's why he's literally saying, I want to go to California. And there's only the three teams in California, which he's an idiot and doesn't realize that there are four. But he's like, I only want to go to one of the three teams in California. Because he seriously thinks that he's that good. He is a superstar. And if he goes to a team like New Orleans, he'll end up being the best on that team. But when he doesn't get as many Pro Bowl votes or a Pro Bowl or whatever you got, All-Star votes, or I've got NFL in the mind, he doesn't get those All-Star votes or anything like that as much. He's going to get whiny about it. He's just not going to be happy if he's still not considered one of the elite in the league. And that's his problem right now. So could he be a superstar? Yeah. But I mean, again, Kellogg's Raisin Bran would be a superstar in the Pelicans right now.
I think he'd be the third best player in the Pelicans. I don't think he'd be the best player, but I think that he would actually make that team a playoff contender. And I think the same thing with Minnesota. You've already got Karl Anthony Towns there, so he's not going to be the best player on that team, but he's going to be a guy that makes Towns better, that makes that team better. So it has to be the right situation. You can't put him into a team like the Celtics, which is already guard heavy, and they rely on shooting. He's not going to help that team. And you can't put him on a team where he's expected to be the main guy, because he's not that guy. He has to go to a team where he can be the second or third option, but he's like basically like a 1A more than a 2.
Yeah, I hate the NBA and the element that you can become a playoff team by being a completely subpar 500 team and be a playoff team. I really wish they would move it to 6. And I understand why the NBA did it. And it's a proven, formula in which they've had success now, and they've become the number 2 sport pro wise in America. But they really need to go to 6 teams on each side for the playoffs in some way, shape, or form, and switch it up with buys, or I don't know. But I mean, the 7th and 8th seed almost every single year on both the East and West are garbage. So him making the Pelicans a playoff team, okay, great. They're 10 team under 500, probably playoff team. I still just don't think that that's going to give him a fit in terms of what he's looking for. He truly would be an issue no matter what, because he's going to expect to be the superstar dynamite MVP voting recognized player. And if he goes to the Pelicans, he might make them better, but he's not going to be recognized that way. And then you're going to get exactly what you already had in Philadelphia. I mean, look at what he's doing in the preseason right now. He did in the preseason before they started with everything, with showing up at practice and getting sent home. Like, you got sent home. The teacher sent you home because you're an annoying pain in the ass. Like, how much more embarrassing could that be? But he doesn't look at it that way. He just thinks, oh, well, they didn't appreciate me for who I am, so fine, I'll go home. It's just this piss poor attitude that he has about things, that he thinks that everyone else is seeing the colors of the rainbow wrong except for him, and all he sees right now is black, white, and gray on that thing.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the topic of tonight's choice. First things first, Sacramento is not a part of California. It's Northern California for you non-Californians, right? Isn't that how that works out?
Last time I checked, it's the same damn state.
No, it's
the capital of the state.
It's Northern California and Southern California. But anyways, we bring Wayne G on every Thursday here at 8:30 East Coast time for his weekly segment of That's Debatable. So Wayne, tell us what the topic is the segment is all about and where people can find your show. Ranked number one, by the way.
That's right. Ranked number 1 on Good Pods, and everyone should be listening to the podcast on Good Pods because, as I mentioned, you guys can actually vote for each individual episode and how much you liked it. So if you didn't like a particular episode, don't vote high on that one, but vote high for the rest of them. So number 1 on Good Pods, and we basically are a movie podcast where we recast films that are at least 20 years old with modern-day actors and actresses. It's really fun. This segment, what I basically do is I bring up 3 or 4 topics. Today it's 4, usually 3 sports, 1 movie topic, and we kind of go at it. And that's where we're at. It's debate. That's debatable. We'll see how debatable some of these are. Sometimes you guys disagree with me. So
let's do it. Topic number 1.
Topic number 1. This was actually brought up by Man Hour superfan Drew, who messaged me this morning, and he had said that he was on YouTube and he came across an old Infinity Sports video, and it was something that we talked about. He disagreed with me, which is why I thought I would bring it up because it is something I'm passionate about. Which was in 2015, the Arroyo Valley High School girls basketball team won a basketball game 161-2, and the head coach was suspended for 2 games for running up the score. And there are many who feel like, as a coach, he was doing his job, getting his team to win. They had already won 3 games that season by 70, and so this team that lost had already lost a game by 90, so it was just a really bad team. And so 161-2. And he got suspended. People didn't think he should be. I thought he should have been suspended for the rest of the season. And my take on it is this. High school sports is nothing more than a book club. So it's just an extracurricular activity where you drop off your kids so you don't need a babysitter. And the coaches of those, whatever it is, programs are supposed to be teaching the kids life lessons. What kind of life lesson are you teaching kids when you're full court pressing up 100 points?
Soup Boss, I'll let you have this one first. You seem really intrigued about this.
You would suspend him for the rest of the season because high school sports is a book club. Maybe where you played high school sports, Wayne, maybe with, I don't know, homeschool type groups playing out in a field where they just toss down some lime, some chalk to be the line to play, and everyone got ribbons. Maybe that's, everyone wins. We don't keep score. No, high school sports is not a book club. It is literally an opportunity to be able to give your bodies, as you're starting to mature into them, the athletic ability to excel at a certain rate that could give student athletes the opportunity to gain scholarships. Just because we are all big on sports on a higher level, not everyone gets a scholarship to Alabama, but there are a ton of lower division schools that still give out full scholarships. I have a ton of friends that were in high school football that got to go to college pretty much for free because of their skill set that could continue to go on, and they use then their degrees to be able to build a career. No, it's not a book club. That's a ridiculous way to look at it. And if a team, now, if he got suspended because he was full court pressing and they were chucking up threes or stuff like that, yeah, you're being a dink. At that point, you don't need to do it. You need to understand when the game is over and to stop. But to say he should be suspended for the rest of the year, I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah,
and you wanted him to just sit down and say, hey, we're good. We're not doing anything else.
Well, my strategy on it would be, as a basketball guy too, and having coached basketball, is this. Obviously, the first quarter you come out full court press, like you normally would, right? And you come out, now it's 55-1 or 55-0 at the end of the first quarter. Now we stop pressing altogether. We go into our set defense, set offense. And again, you can still score a bunch of points. I'm not saying, but then at that point, now you go into halftime and it's, 80-5, right? Second half, nothing but JV players for the rest of the game. And again, staying with the set offense, set defense. In this case, he was leaving his starters in. He was full court pressing for the entire game pretty much. So that's the problem I have. And the reason I say that for the full season is because high school sports coaches are responsible for shaping young minds. They are teachers. And if a teacher is misguiding a student, they should not be a teacher. If a coach is misguiding his team with these types of principles, he should not be coaching. They should find another coach who understands that humanity that is way more important than any sort of sport at all.
Okay, so let me speak on this from the coaching side. So on the coaching side of the look at this, my first year coaching high school football, we were beating a team 55-0 at halftime. We took out all of our varsity players and let the JV and freshmen play the second half. The other team kept their varsity guys in. They literally killed our kids. They ended up scoring 35 points on us. And so now every time we play this team, I swear up and down that I will never pull my starters out, and we will put 80-85 on them every chance I can get. So maybe that's what happened to this coach on this team a couple years ago, back when this team was horrible. Maybe they ran a score on them, so why not return the favor? I am shaping my kids' young minds to what's the old saying? You do unto me as like I want undone to me, or whatever like it is. When I put my freshman kids in 13, 14 years old, and they're playing 18-year-old kids just getting killed, and then you want to come flex on us like, hey, we beat you guys in the second half. Okay, you're playing 13-year-olds. Congratulations. No, I'm going to pound your dick in the mud every chance I can get.
Yeah, well, and that goes to another different life lesson than the one I'm talking about, which, again, like you said, do unto others as you'd have done unto you, which is what I believe in very much. That's the golden rule. However, I also think that there was another guy who said something like turn the other cheek, right? So again, if you're teaching kids like, hey, these guys are being a-holes, so it's okay to be violent with them, or it's okay to call them names, and then the other coach is like, well, if they're calling you names, it's okay to do. Listen, everybody just stop. Everybody just stop. You're playing a game. It's fun. If you're not having fun, get off the field and go join the chess club, right? It is supposed to be fun. And as coaches, it's your job to teach the right way to handle life situations, not just situations on the field. And so I think that when you get rolled by a team, I understand the frustration with that. I understand hating that coach. But at the same time, when you go in and you play against them a year later, 2 years later, whatever it is, to take it out on his 14 and 15-year-olds, what are you really teaching your team as a leader?
I'm teaching my kids how to play Division I level. I'm teaching my kids that this is an internship onto your career. You want to be great now, and flex on those stupid little bitches.
No, I think there's a line in between what you both are saying. I really do. I understand what you're trying to say, Wayne, in that element, and it's true. Sometimes some coaches and or parents use their own lack of success on the sporting field, and they present that into coaching these kids, and then they think that that's their ability to flex. So if that was this coach flexing, yeah, then you deserve to be suspended, and you do it within an element of you shouldn't have been doing this. You shouldn't have been pressing. You shouldn't have been pointing up threes. Come on, man. Put your zones in. Have them run the basic pick and rolls and things like that. Doesn't mean you have to stop playing. You're suspended for a couple games, but you don't just automatically just throw them out for the rest of the season. But at the same time, you keep saying it, Wayne, you got to shape and mold these people to go against your version of it, Buck. That doesn't mean you teach them how to just be unceremonious little
bullies,
turds that just absolutely tells people how much they suck and everything like that. You do it by teaching them success on the field. And Wayne, if you're molding these young children for success moving forward in life, guess what? Not everything in life comes with you with roses and sprinkles and rainbows. You can teach through losing opportunities. You can let them know how you're going to be able to do better the next time. You can take a 160-2 loss and say, okay, that was probably the worst thing you're ever going to face. How are we going to make sure the next game is 160-10, 160-30, 160-40?
That's a great point.
There is not guaranteed success in life that comes to you. It's just as much as that other coach's opportunity to teach them that there are lows in life that you'll feel like there's nothing you can do to get out of that low. But you know what? You fight. You fight to do one step better, one step better. And putting JV teams in to go to Buck's line, the JV players to then have those varsity players who were getting stomped to then have the ability to stomp them, that's not teaching them anything. If all of a sudden I'm having a hard time in my life, my life doesn't just all of a sudden change and become super easy where then I can flex on life and become so much more successful. I got to fight for that ability to do that. So I agree with your sentiment, Wayne, that they got to teach them better. This coach shouldn't have been using his own lack of success maybe in his athletic life or feeling that everything has to be stomped the penis into the mud, whatever the heck you said, Buck. It doesn't need to go to that extent. So probably should have been penalized the 2 games that he was or she was. I don't know what it was for male, female. But at the same time, you can't coddle people when you're teaching kids about life lessons. Because here's the thing. We don't teach kids enough in school as it is what to really prepare for. Kids don't learn how to do taxes. Kids don't learn how to what means for to have income tax come out of their checks. I always love when my kids get their first paycheck from a job and they go, wait a minute, math in school taught me that $10 an hour times 20 hours means I make this $200. How come my check is only $128? Welcome to the real world, child. Let me now talk to you about why this happens. You have to give opportunities for life lessons to come in different ways, not being coddled. Sometimes learning you're going to get your rear end stomped 160-2. That's okay. Let's see how we can get better the next time. So I think there's a line between the way you both are saying it.
No, I agree. There's a line, and I think that what I'm saying too, and I'm not saying coddle people at all. I'm just saying that basically any game that you win 160-2, there's no way you're playing it like legit. Like you're totally trying to run up the score, and that makes 100%. You a horrible person, you know. And so I just think that's my take on it. Is that listen, if this guy was playing his JV team and they scored 80 in the second half, like just running a set offense, and they had to make 5 passes before they could shoot and all that jazz, I'd be like, hey, listen, that's what sometimes that happens. And I would tell my team, if I'm the other team, like, listen, guys, we just got to get better at this. But when, again, you're full court pressing and your team is way more athletic and taller and lankier and can get those steals, and there's nothing you can do about it because you got these small, slow kids. I mean, if I'm the other coach, maybe even at halftime, just be like, hey, listen, man, what do you say you're not pressing the second half here? Because my kids can't even get the ball across half court. You've made your point. You're up 100-1. Can we kind of like dial it back a little bit?
Yeah, and that's where you need to be, and that's where you need to be in that element. But at the same time, remember, like you just said, if you can sprint faster, if you can jump up to get the rebound better, and everything like that, there's a chance that instead of 160-3, you take back the press. They're winning 130-3, and then at that point, at what point are you saying that it's okay to have a completely unbalanced score where you don't suspend this coach? Is it just in the action of the pressing and everything like that? Because
it's in the action. Yeah, it's not in the score itself because the score could be a variable factors that led to that score, right? And so I just said, looking at the action itself, if he wasn't pressing like you're saying, if he was just playing a set offense the entire time and playing a 2-3 and he won 160-2, I don't think I would have a problem with it.
Okay.
But you don't win.
Yeah,
you don't win 160-2 though doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just don't agree with the whole season. If that's his first infringement, is that his first issue, the first time he's been talked about it, you suspend the coach for a game or two and you say, do it again. Yeah, then we're going to suspend you the whole season. But I don't know. I don't agree with the whole season.
Yeah, and this was in California, right, Wayne?
Yep.
So California in high school does not have a shot clock rule, so they could, in theory, hold the ball for all 12 minutes, and it could have been a 24-minute second half. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, well, I don't agree with that either. I mean, holding the ball. I also don't agree with like kneeling on the ball, in the victory formation if you're up 40. I mean, play the game, but just don't try to run it up. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying. So you could have done like 15 passes and,
yeah,
but whatever. Topic number 2.
Yeah, topic number 2. We're going to stay with the same theme here, which is over punishment to curtail bad behavior, which is one of the things that I love, right? So I feel like if you want to deter criminals, you have to scare them from committing the crime. That's the only way to deter them, is to scare them. So the only way you scare them is by over punishing people who break the law. Now, in this case, we're going to talk about Antonio Brown, who the reports are coming out that Antonio Brown had acquired a fake vaccination card, and then Tampa Bay came out and said all of our guys are vaccinated. And meanwhile, it could be that he had a fake one. Some reports are saying that no, we checked him, it wasn't fake. Whatever it is, there's going to be an investigation, I'm sure. My thing is, if Antonio Brown did use a fake ID to clear the whole thing in the preseason, or the fake vaccination card, then he should get a lifetime ban from the NFL.
Good soup.
Oh my God, Wayne. What the hell is the matter with you, dude? You like bring up skilled detail about something, then you go, and we've got all these details and these details and these details. Guillotine to the head. Take them out. Kill them. What the hell is the matter with you, man? No, you can make an impact on what you're saying. And we're talking about the NFL where they probably, as we know, baby their superstars far more than the regular players. So all you need to do is give a regular what the rules say. You actually follow through in this situation, and you give what you feel that the ban would be under the situation. I mean, we've sat here for the last 2 weeks, week and a half, hearing more about Aaron Rodgers and more of the media uproar about that than we have a guy like Deshaun Watson in the current standard of that case and what's going on there. Like, that's been a bigger issue. So bring that standard into play here. And if you investigate it and you find that it's true, suspend him for the games that you would find would be right. None of this lifetime ban crap. Like, now you're skewing it to the other end. You prove that, hey, listen, we don't care if you're a superstar. We don't care if you're a practice squad player. This is the rule. This is the standard. This is what we're going to do if you did that. With that said, can I side road this for a second? Are we blown away that it's now, week 11? And this is the first case that we've heard of this. We heard about players during COVID, like Rob Gronkowski, doing all their weekly practice video sessions and just filming them all in one day in different outfits and then sending them all in as separate days. Have you guys seen your COVID vaccination? I don't know if you guys are vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
I'm going to get arrested. It was easy to get a fake ID, which is an actual state identification card, when I was 15 years old. This is a piece of cardboard. It's a small piece of paper with a little stamp. Like, anyone can do this. I'm actually shocked it's taken this long for someone to get ousted for a fake COVID card. Because I guarantee you there's probably a good 20 to 30 players that were like, I don't want to do this. Hold up. Wait, that's all it is? It's a card with a scribble and a date twice? Like, yeah, I can get this done. I got the money for it. Like, to me, this will not be the first one we hear about, but a lifetime ban, Wayne. Like, do you just feel like, oh man, you stepped outside the line, cut your nuts off, and sorry, you ain't having sex with kids for the rest of your life ever again? Like, you go to some extremes, buddy.
Oh, I go wicked extreme. And this goes back to when I was even in high school. So when I took driver's ed in I think I was 17, and all of us had to like do a report on something we looked up in the news or whatever. And I did a whole thing about in Ecuador, if you get pulled over for DUI, you blow, it's over the limit, right? They execute you on the side of the road. You don't even go to trial. And I said, we should implement that here in the United States. And a bunch of my classmates did not like that idea. But I was like, I've never.
Wayne, a bunch of the people in the United States of America that live in a democracy probably would not like that idea. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. But I love over punishment. I think over punishment is the best way to curtail crime.
Now, I do agree with your thought process of
it's a great way to drive fear into making uprising.
Right.
That's about it.
Exactly. But if I'm not mistaken, it is not illegal to have a fake vaccine card, right? It happens all the time. Hell, there are kids in my son's school right now that I guarantee you they went to Ecuador and they got a fake vaccination card for their kid to come into school. It happens all the freaking time. But I'm not for sure if it's against the law. Now, I could be totally wrong, but the whole vaccine world, the whole COVID world, right? It is so unknown. It is so up in the air. And hell, they're fighting the mandates and all this other crap. So for him to have a fake vaccine card, the only reason why it would have come up, besides his chef, I think it was, looking for his 15 minutes of like fame. The only time it would ever come up is if Antonio Brown was exposed to the COVID virus. Then let's say he wasn't vaccinated, and for whatever he spreads it to 15 other guys. I mean, like, yes, science and like all that kind of. I don't want to get into like that. But let's say one of those 15 guys ended up getting, like, they die because of the whole COVID thing because Antonio Brown faked it. Then I could see something different happening. But so we are basically pinning him to the wall here for an accusation that doesn't even matter. Like, what does it matter?
I said, for starters,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a two-part question you're asking here, Buck. And so the first thing I'll say is this. I said right off the bat, if it's proved to be true. I'm not pinning him to the wall based on the accusation. If it's proved to be true. Secondly, my contention is this. Yes, it's not against the law. That doesn't mean it doesn't matter. Is it against the law to say fuck you? No. But if you say fuck you to your boss, can you get your job back ever again? No. So, it doesn't have to be against the law to get punished for it.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a ton of people in construction right now that are just like, wait, that's against the rules? I can get fired for that?
yeah. But like my biggest thing is like this whole mandate, obviously the NFL is a private entity. They can implement any mandates that they want, right? Just because it is legal to smoke pot in California doesn't mean the NFL is going to allow you to smoke pot, right? So, like, I get that aspect of it, but a lifetime ban, absolutely ridiculous. Let's say at least maybe a 10-day suspension, because if you were to get COVID, that would be his quarantine process, right? It's the 10 days.
And I think I was about to bring up an example, and it almost would have given more credit to Wayne's point, which is, when I worked for an employee out here in Oklahoma, and all of the weed elements, like what was legal, what wasn't, there's certain states that allowed it. We still had, people that worked with heavy machinery and were diesel mechanics that we said, it doesn't matter. You work with wrenches the size of, a 3-year-old child, and lift up, multi-ton vehicles up on these lifts. You can't be under the influence of weed. You have to be able to pass a drug test, period. Like, you got to be able to do that. If someone found a way to fake a drug test and falsified the drug test as a negative, and really they were at potentially as a positive, there's a good chance we'd probably fire them or not have them have their job back. The difference may be, though, in that situation is because of the state standards, though, in what is allowed, they wouldn't be marked as not rehirable. They probably just lose their job and have to put in for reinstatement after a certain period of time. So it's almost the same scenario. We've seen it with the example I gave is the perfect Josh Gordon sentiment, right? If you're going to have a guy like Josh Gordon that you've giving 4, 5, 6, how many opportunities does this guy continue to being given? How can you take then one situation with Antonio Brown where, okay, let's find out that he did really do it, that he got this cardboard card fake made and everything like that? No, it's against the rules. You're suspended until further notice. He's going to have to go through a similar process as someone like Josh Gordon to get reinstated. I just say a lifetime ban is to literally just say that you went out and just absolutely murdered the child of a coach or something like that. I don't know. Like, those are not the same type of crimes to me. But at the same time, if he's doing something that he shouldn't have been and he's getting a paycheck and he's able to play and he's able to do things that, we watch coaches lose their jobs because they said, nah, I'm not going to do it. Instead of they made good money too, the coaches. Why? They could have probably gotten a fake COVID card too, but they didn't. If we find out this is true, he does need to face a penalty. But again, friggin' guillotine Wayne G, shoot people on the side of the road because of DUI. Listen, terrorizer, you need to calm it down a little bit, okay?
Well, at least I'm consistent. This conversation went from in life when you be
consistent. I could sneeze on you. You'd want my balls cut off. That's your consistency.
You say, well, you know what? When you get into the real life as an adult, nobody coddles you. Whoa. If you break the rules, you should get coddled a little bit before they actually punish you.
When you become an adult, if I cross the street and jaywalk, they don't cut my legs off and throw me in the slammer for the rest of my life.
But if they did, you wouldn't jaywalk. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah. Oh, God, man, Wayne. You're just asking for an uprising here. You're going to have people with pitchforks and torches in your backyard. You're going to have no idea why.
So
what was so bad about Stalin? Come on.
Yeah. So two things here before we go to the next topic here. The report is that he paid $500 for a cardboard card. You can go to Staples and get cardstock paper for about 25 cents, and you could probably make your own for less than that. And also, Drew did say it is a federal crime to fake a COVID card. So
Well, there you go.
there you go.
And then we're trying to gauge the intelligence of Antonio Brown. I mean, wasn't that the jury's already kind of come back with that one?
Yeah.
Technically, it's a federal crime to duplicate any type of identification illegally as well. But I mean, the bouncers just took it from me and told me to get the hell out of there, and that was it. I didn't have my wiener cut off, as Wayne G would ask.
Death penalty.
Yeah, definitely. So
That is the death
so your
penalty
butthole.
if you cut off my wiener. That is. That's what it is.
All right, next topic, Wayne.
Yeah, so this one a little bit more of a light note, I guess, if you want to call it that. But the Lakers, after back-to-back losses to the Bulls and the Bucks, are 8-8. They're in 8th place in the West. The Lakers are going to win the Western Conference and go to the NBA Finals. They're just the most talented team in the NBA. And right now, this NBA season, this part of it is still preseason. The regular season doesn't start till December 25th.
So with the Celtics, there's this thing that they've done for the last 3 seasons in which they get a big lead going into the fourth quarter, and then they play hero ball the second that the other team presses a little bit and starts to score, and they go on a little 6-0 run, and then they lose big leads, and then they lose. And we watch this happen over and over and over. It's called copy, paste, repeat. All you literally just said was copy, paste, repeat for what we're going to see out of the Lakers. Now, I know they didn't do it last year, so maybe there's some comparisons to that saying, hey, they're not going to get to the finals. But do we really sit here at 16 games with LeBron James and seriously sit here and go, I mean, it's the Max Kellerman saying Brady's going to fall off the cliff. Like, really? Like, people are seriously online saying this proves LeBron James sucks. He's not good. He's a terrible team player. The Lakers aren't going to make the playoffs. Like, why do we do this? It is November 18th. Are you serious? Come talk to me in March if they're like 15 games under 500. Even then, you might still make the playoffs in the NBA. But yeah, I mean the finals thing, maybe, who knows? I'm not there yet because I still don't think we've even seen the shape of what this NBA season's gonna curtail until we get to All-Star break. Who really knows what's gonna happen here?
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong. The Milwaukee Bucks won the championship last year, right?
Yep.
So the Bucks and the Lakers played last night or 2 nights ago, and the Greek Freak totally dominated the game. We had like 49 points, made Antonio Brown not Antonio Brown, Anthony Davis his little bitch, and they still only lost by like 6 points without LeBron James on the court. So why would you be freaking out? Like, hey, we lost to the defending NBA champions without our leader, without the best player in the NBA, like, and our arguably leader on the court, and we still only lost by 6 points. We're okay. Laker fans, pump the brakes. You guys are going to be okay. And it was at Milwaukee, too. So especially a road game during the week, it is always tough, right?
I don't even really think that this is a Lakers fan thing, though, Buck. I think this is just everyone that just loves to automatically paint the demise of LeBron James. It's everyone that's not a Lakers fan. It's everyone that's not a LeBron James fan. They want to paint the demise. Now, if the NBA had some balls and wanted to go all crazy like Wayne, you'd make only the top 4 teams go in the playoffs. Then you might see something different. But literally because of the system and the standard and because of the fact that home court advantage really does not amount to that much of an advantage in the NBA, these players, they're not going to sit here and play the whole season. And I know they tried to make this whole, we're going to penalize you if you sit a player. They could come up with any excuse, especially in the world of COVID right now. You could come up with any excuse as to why your players don't need to play. They're not going to play at full strength until the All-Star break is over. It is ridiculous. The Lakers could be 0-16 right now, and I would have no problem saying that they would have still a chance at this point to win the West and to get into the playoffs and potentially go to the finals because half their team doesn't play every game. They just don't do it. When the Thunder beat them, everyone was like, oh my God, the Thunder beat the Lakers. Yeah, half their team wasn't playing. And Russell Westbrook was deciding that he wanted to throw in 10 turnovers and they didn't bring in LeBron James to tell him to stop. No one cares. This is not the time of season to freak out.
Yeah,
It's not time
exactly.
to throw people's heads in the guillotine, Wayne.
not from LA anyways. But no, I think it's just basically the fans overreact, the stupid fans, I'll say, the low IQ fans overreacting to what is sports media, which in the world where we can all find out scores the minute they happen, people only tune into TV to see arguments. And what causes arguments is hot takes. And so what happens is you get the guy who strikes out, send him down to the minors. Next at bat hits a home run, he's Babe Ruth. Next at bat he strikes out, send him back to the minors. So it's just the overreaction of whatever.
But also on the flip side of that, doesn't LeBron James turn 37 in December? And, as a 37-year-old, I'm not there yet, but you guys are getting close, if not past that point, right there.
I'm 41.
Bus,
I'm old.
They're
42.
There you go. So, it is, as you get older, it is harder to turn off that switch, because what did LeBron James do when he was, kind of young? He would kind of just, half-ass the regular season, and then once April hit, he would flip that switch, and we'd be seeing 30-40 points out of him, 10 assists, etc. So maybe they could panic a little bit just because he is older and he may not be able to turn on that switch and explode the way he used to, but he does spend $12 million on his body in the off season, much like Tom Brady does.
You just literally made the point that I was going to bring up, is the fact that earlier this year I went through a workout regimen for about a 3-month period that put me in some of the best shape I was in since I was 21, a 20-year gap in the shape of my body. And that was a 3-month regimen of working out 6 to 7 days a week. LeBron James, he's not half-assing it out there on the court for sure, but he's not playing right now because he's actually working out like crazy and keeping his body in top physical shape. So that then come the end of January, early February, he then just lets go and plays out the rest of the season. So it's just a strategy element. It's just, you're older now. Okay, don't go out there and even run up and down the court, but we're going to put you in a gym and we're going to make sure you stay in top physical form, and you're going to spend $12 million to do it. But guess what? That's going to make you a $500 million player in endorsements and success and everything alone. It's a different era. It's all of us older people, we grew up watching players hit 30 years old and they hit a decline. It's different. It's completely different now. There's so much science. There's so much money into it. And they're smart. They know when to say, I can step out and still get into the playoffs and make sure my body's in top physical condition. I think LeBron James can easily play until he's 40.
Yes.
You can, but I think to Buck's point, when it came to flipping a switch, my take on it is this, which is that LeBron James at 20, let alone 37, never had the ability to flip the switch. He's not Michael Jordan. He can't flip a switch. And the best example of that is, I think 2 or 3 seasons ago, when the Lakers were struggling. I think it was his first season with the Lakers, and he came out with a tweet. He said, "Playoff mode activated," and then they lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
and then it was injury mode activated. He's not able to pull a Jordan and flip a switch.
No, there's a different activity element in that, and that's why I think maybe you not seeing him on the court right now and being able to use the injury excuse and to a certain extent or rest or whatever benefits him after the COVID aspect, because now instead of it not him doing that, it's just behind the scenes, like, hey, time to hit the gym. He's got a lot of personal trainers right now that know what he needs to do in a physical element. And to your point then, Wayne, then you just end of January, early February, you open up those gates and you let the bull run and see if he can push you through. And I think that's a great focus for the Lakers. They can be a 500 basketball team come then, and I would not be shocked if they get to the finals.
So let me ask you this question before we went to the last topic of the night here.
Touchdown Patriots.
Has LeBron James won his final championship?
No.
Suit boss?
I'm going to say yes. Has he gone to his last finals? No. Has he won his final championship? I think yes. I think what we saw out of the Greek Freak was the complete shift of the new era of the players. And I know, like, the Suns and everything they did, and Chris Paul and the value he had, and a lot of value in these elder players, but the shift is now there. I think there's just too much of the kids that we saw 3-4 years ago. They're up and coming. They are now ready to take this league over. The Greek Freak started it. I think LeBron will still be a huge impact. I think LeBron still gets to the finals at least one time. but I don't know. I just don't see the ability when it comes to health, not just with LeBron, with Anthony Davis, with a lot of these other players. Russell Westbrook is going to give you a game where he gives you 15 turnovers again. Like, there's enough of a formula there. It's like when we saw Karl Malone and what was it, Gary Payton, I think, join the Lakers with Kobe and everything like that. It was good enough to be good, but not good enough to win it all.
Yeah. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't make a finals either. So I think the torch has been passed. So last year to Devin Booker and the Suns. So
I would say expect him to put together one more super team before he hits 40.
You think so?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
I agree. He'll put together a super team, but I still don't think it'll be enough because what he thinks are super, like if Dwayne Wade today would come out of retirement and come play for him on a super team, LeBron James would want him over a kid like Luka Doncic. I really think he would. LeBron James still believes that everyone that grew up with him, like the Carmelos and everything, still have something to prove, and I think that's going to hurt him as he moves forward.
I think it's a friendship thing. Like he wants to play with his friends.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I don't. I want to win.
But if you think you can win and you play with it, that's what I'm saying. The mentality is that he thinks if Dwayne Wade came out of retirement today, he thinks he could win with him. So he wants to play with his friends, and he truly believes that he could win with them. He's not going out trying to get Devin Booker. He's not trying to go out and get Luka or Trae Young. He doesn't want those players. He truly thinks that he can win with his friends. That's the difference. He's not looking at like you and I going out at me and Wayne going out and trying to play 2-on-2, a bunch of 20-year-olds on the court and breaking our ankles and everything. We might have fun playing basketball, but we know we're not going to win.
I'll take Wayne all day, baby.
LeBron James truly believes that with Anthony Davis, with Carmelo Anthony, with Dwayne Wade, he truly thinks with Russell Westbrook, he thinks he can win with them. He thinks they still have everything it takes to be a super team now and to win. And I don't agree with that.
All right. Well, Wayne G, last topic of the night.
Yeah, last topic I got here is the movie topic, and it's kind of a little bit of a plug for us because this weekend we are recording an episode where we're recasting the movie Heat. And so we will be putting that out next week at some point early in the week. We'll have a modern cast, and you guys can vote on who has a better cast for the movie Heat. But I did not want to recast this movie because I do not like this movie. I think it is a crap movie, and I put it in the same category as The Usual Suspects, which is really a bag of crap because if you take out that twist ending, the movie's not worth watching at all. And Heat to me was just nothing but exposition and then one shootout.
Soup, do you want to go first on this, or do you want me to it?
I hate you, Wayne G. How dare you take one of the greatest films of our whole generation as two old guys and say it is a garbage film? There's not one person that I have not gotten to, because Heat is not one of those mainstream titles that everyone knows. Like, it really is a movie that there's still people my age that did not know that it was a movie. They may have kind of heard of it. Every person I've gotten to watch Heat has come back and said, how come I did not know about this movie? That was insane. What part of Heat makes you think that it was garbage? At what point were you walking away from your couch to go play with your Tinkerbell in the bathroom?
A number of times where it's just, like I said, exposition where they're talking and then they're talking, and then later we're driving and then we're talking. And it was like Lord of the Rings, but modern day, where it's just lots of walking and talking. And then, like I said, we had the big shootout at the bank. But other than that, it was like, what is going on here? I didn't really get into that movie at all. It's not something it's the second time I watched it, and it was begrudging.
And you just answered it for me. So now I understand why, Wayne. Wayne needs Teletubbies type of entertainment to be able for him to understand what's going on the big screen. They were talking, and then I didn't understand why they were robbing the bank. That's the whole point of the talking, Wayne. They're explaining to you why they need to rob the bank. You're supposed to listen to the words. Movies are like these things called books. There are words that explains what's happening. Therefore, it sets up the action sequence. Teletubbies coming out and telling you how come and do these things with me. Mickey Mouse Clubhouse bullcrap. That if that's what you're thinking that needs to happen, you can't just have a movie where you just go, all right, start scene and go. All right, bank robbery. Yeah, shooting. Let's go rob another bank. Yeah, shooting. And then that's it. That's not how you make cinema, Wade. What the hell? That's the whole point of why they talk.
Shawshank Redemption is nothing but talking, but it's interesting. Nothing was interesting about Heat, but it's got a great ass.
It does have a great ass.
So
I was so pumped because I thought you said I did not want to recast this movie because there's no way you recast something this great, but instead you do you damn crap and go, I don't want to do this because it was garbage. If it was so garbage, recast it to be better than Wayne.
I did. My cast is amazing.
There you go.
Of course.
So this is another movie that I've never even heard of. I had to Google it. And Subash, you said, why isn't this good? Well, they were nominated for 14 awards and they won 0. So when you strike out like that,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, because we just know that all the movies that have won Movie of the Year and everything like that really transcend the time and are definitely the best movies of those time frames.
They did. Titanic.
Get the hell out of here. They don't have to.
It probably lost
win
like
everything.
Princess of the Wheat Field or something stupid. Nobody cares who wins those awards.
Yeah, thank you, Wayne. At least we agree there. It's always something stupid that wins those awards, Buck.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they didn't win any of these Chicago Film Critic Association Awards, Cinema Audio Society Awards, Dallas-Fort Worth Criticism Award, or the MTV Awards. So, obviously not very
I can't
good.
imagine Heat being nominated for an MTV award.
It was the MTV Movie Award, Most Desirable Male, Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, there you go. It had to be some stupid category like that.
Yeah.
Who
So,
won? Brad Pitt for River Runs Through It?
I don't know. It doesn't say. It just gives you the list of nominations. So I feel like I feel like I have to go watch Heat now, like again. Or
I hope you have
watch it.
7 hours because it's an epic like drag
It's
out
3
movie.
hours. It's 3 hours.
It felt like
you
a
gotta
week.
actually have an attention span that goes beyond an episode of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. So
The
yeah,
only
I'm
thing that would
screwed,
make it
man.
worse is if it had subtitles.
Oh my god. The thing has got a 5 out of 5 Empire, 4.7 rating out of 5 by users, 8.2 on IMDb, 87 on Rotten Tomatoes. The only thing I can't see is the Metacritic score, for crying out loud. And Wayne G's over here being like, well, they talk in the movie.
Yeah.
They don't. I had to listen to words and hear the words. And I swear to God, Wayne, if you ever bring up a movie and trash Lord of the Rings in conjunction with it, I heard that little slide that you had. How dare you? How dare you? Especially the greatness that is the scene of Helm's Deep. That's a movie within itself. Of course you need to talk to set up stuff like that. Man, how do you read a book, man? Let me guess. You don't read books, do you?
I'd read a ton of books actually. I'm a reading machine. That's why I hate it. That's why I hated Lord of the Rings.
Mickey Mouse Funhouse don't count.
Man, I feel like you're slowly attacking me, Suit Boss, because that's exactly what's on our TV 24/7 is Mickey Mouse Clubhouse and Blaze. I mean, I freaking love Blaze.
Hot dog, hot diggity dog. Wade's like, oh, I get that. It rhymes. I like this. I can pay attention to this now.
All right, guys, that is going to be it for tonight. Before we head out, though, Wayne, tell the people where they can find your #1 rated show.
It is going to be at Recasted Podcast on Twitter, at Recasted Podcast on Instagram, and at Recasted Podcast on Facebook. And you can find us on all platforms, but make sure to listen on Good Pods and to rate 5 stars for every episode.
All right, guys. So there you go. Soup Boss, thanks for joining me tonight. You guys be sure to join us every Wednesday at 9 o'clock East Coast time, 8 o'clock Central for Spilled Soup as he quickly becoming making me step up my game, and I like it. I think I don't know, kind of, but nonetheless,
Yeah, make you have to actually read things.
Yeah.
Do research. God forbid you and Wayne have to read things or listen to words on screen.
You understand? I'm from Kansas, right? We don't even know how to do 2 + 2, so I'm just throwing it out there. But guys, that's going to be it for this week. So hey, did you guys know that 10 + 10 and 11 + 11 are the same numbers?
Don't do the stupid dad joke. Come on, Bach. 22. They both 22. We get it. Move on. Close the